If you're in the mind, you'll never know what your future could be, where the divine wants to carry us, because the divine path is an unknown path. The mind has to grab a hold of something that it's experienced before, something that it's read about. Somewhere has to be a known reality. It has to pull it from somewhere. So it's always going to be from the structure. So when we're making our plans from the mind, or when we're looking ahead, we're in the mind, we'll never be where the divine intended us to be. We'll never end up there, because it's always from a known structure. And the heart is trying to take us somewhere beyond that. And it's like everybody's barefooted on this earth, and the ground is all broken glass, because most of our world is in fear. Just look around. Everybody's walking real slow, real careful, afraid of being harmed, cut. Everybody is in fear. And you walk around on glass long enough barefooted, you are going to be harmed. You are going to be hurt. But being in the heart is like you've been given a pair of shoes to walk on this glass. You feel safe. You feel more comfortable. You can look up. You become more aware of what's going on around you, because you're looking up and you're feeling a little bit braver. Throughout our day, we are lost in the structure. Yes, we have moments of heart, but mostly we're in the structure. And then we go to bed, and we're usually doing the same thing, looking at our phone or watching the news, or something that keeps us in the structure, and then we marinate in that energy as we go to bed, if you can even fall asleep. That pretty much keeps us in the mind and in the structure. That's what this dimension is going to be. This is what the frequency is going to do to the earth, is detoxing. But the people that have an understanding are going to be in the heart, and they're going to see it for what it is, a detoxing. Detoxing of the old ways, a detoxing of the old energies. The people that are going to really make a big push on this heart are going to see the world differently. Oh, and that's what the new fifth dimension is the Christ consciousness. But not like we know Christ as a judgmental, like you have to accept me, otherwise, you go to this really bad place. Like I said, like the real crucifixion of Christ was his teachings for the last 2,000 years. How I see being in the heart has so much power, and if we can be in it, if we can really put a strong push on this heart, like the strongest push that we've ever put on this heart before, and just make it the commander over that mind, we're going to see our reality change. We're going to move through this 2024, 2025. We're going to move through it easier. That will change your life. That will give you a pair of shoes so that you can walk in all this glass. And then when you are walking on glass with shoes, everybody's like, why are you walking around so comfortably? And then you can share, I'm in the heart.
It's beautiful to see.
It is. Hi everybody, this is Milani, welcoming you to Milani Meditation Podcast. Please sit back, grab a cup of tea, and enjoy the show. Hi everybody, this is Milani, and I'm here with Gadish again. I feel like this podcast is going to be a carryover from the last one about moving into this new earth and how we can approach it. Because there's so much information coming through. There's so much information coming through a lot of people. It's kind of exciting if we can see it in the right way. It can be scary because what it might look like, or what it could look like if we're not in our hearts. I would like to use these podcasts to kind of prepare ourselves and put ourselves, or to attempt to put ourselves into the vibration to where things don't feel like they're falling apart. So things don't feel like they're being ripped away from us. If we can get ourselves positioned in that heart, and I don't mean heart like we are accustomed to, because we do experience heart a lot. I mean on a much more divine level. Like we have all these heart phrases. Like put your heart into it. Close to your heart. Heart in the right place. Follow your heart.
Heart and soul. Speak from your heart.
These heart phrases came from somewhere originally, but I think the mind owns them now because the mind's in control. The mind uses them. The mind thinks it understands the heart. Really, when we wake up, we're in the mind. We're looking at our phone. We're paying attention to what we have to do. Throughout our day, we are lost in the structure. Yes, we have moments of heart, but mostly we're in the structure. And then we go to bed and we're usually doing the same thing, looking at our phone or watching the news or something that keeps us in the structure, and then we marinate in that energy as we go to bed, if you can even fall asleep. That pretty much keeps us in the mind and in the structure. That would give us a heavy heart or a heart of stone. So moving into this new earth, it's going to be so much about heart. I know in the last podcast we went over some heart stuff that we can do, and I think we will go over that again today. But I think it's just we need to have some more understanding about the heart, and we just need to keep talking about this because it's going to be very important coming into this new earth. It's going to be so important.
I think it's a really important subject to talk about. You know, I feel like there's clues from the past about the heart in a lot of our mythology that we have, right? Like if you ever look at pictures of Jesus, he's always like, he's got the sacred heart, right? In his heart. And it's almost like there's like a message behind it, but they don't really tell you exactly how to get inside the heart. They just kind of give you the clues about it in a way, right?
Right. Yeah, even in all the temples and stuff, there's all these etchings about heart and hands over the heart, and Jesus is known for the sacred heart, and a lot of people are calling that's what the new fifth dimension is the Christ consciousness, but not like we know Christ as a judgmental, like you have to accept me, otherwise, you go to this really bad place. Like I said, like the real crucifixion of Christ was his teachings for the last 2,000 years. I mean, he loves us for no matter what. Just like all the light beings have come here to guide us.
Well, it's almost like his message has been skewed over 2,000 years and been manipulated in a way, right?
Right. So we need to change how we think we know the heart. And we need to put so much more emphasis on it because we've been doing a lot of heart stuff. And because, as you know, I do energy work for people, and where do I usually focus on?
The heart.
The heart. There's so much layers over people's hearts that I'm trying to break through. It's like an onion. I have to peel back the layers to somebody's heart in order to free that negative energy that's kind of surrounds it and blocks it and makes it to feel like a heart of stone. And then what happens when it gets freed? You've seen it so many times.
I mean, it's like a release. It's like joy and happiness, or sometimes they'll release, they'll cry. It's beautiful to see.
It is. And the heart has so much power, and if we can be in it, if we can really put a strong push on this heart, like the strongest push that we've ever put on this heart before, and just make it the commander over that mind, we're going to see our reality change. We're going to move through this 2024, 2025. We're going to move through it easier. If we're not in the heart and we're in the mind, we're going to see like something totally different. And we're going to believe in something totally different. What did you tell me about a diet cleanse the other day?
I said that it could bring up stuff.
And it's not always pretty.
No.
It's just you're detoxing.
You're detoxing, yeah, exactly.
That's what this dimension is going to be. This is what the frequency is going to do to the earth, is detoxing. But the people that have an understanding are going to be in the heart, and they're going to see it for what it is, a detoxing. Detoxing of the old ways, a detoxing of the old energies. The people that are going to really make a big push on this heart are going to see the world differently. How I see being in the heart and how I feel from it And it's like everybody's barefooted on this earth, and the ground is all broken glass because most of our world is in fear. Just look around. Everybody's walking real slow, real careful, afraid of being harmed, cut. Everybody is in fear. And you walk around on glass long enough barefooted, you are going to be harmed. You are going to be hurt. That being in the heart is like you've been given a pair of shoes to walk on this glass. You feel safe. You feel more comfortable. You can look up. You become more aware of what's going on around you because you're looking up and you're feeling a little bit braver.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely a lot of fear and doubt everywhere you look.
Well, this frequency is going to bring it up. It's happening to us whether we like it or not. It's being introduced. So if we can get ahead of it or keep up with it, then this is going to be a lot easier transition for us. It's going to be a beautiful transition. Those who are in the heart are going to want to be in these heart communities. If you're in the mind, you'll never know what your future could be, where the divine wants to carry us, because the divine path is an unknown path. The mind has to grab a hold of something that it's experienced before, something that it's read about. Somewhere has to be a known reality. It has to pull it from somewhere. So it's always going to be from the structure. So when we're making our plans from the mind, or when we're looking ahead, we're in the mind, we'll never be where the divine intended us to be. We'll never end up there because it's always from a known structure. And the heart is trying to take us somewhere beyond that.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the world, it's definitely like everything is geared towards the mind. So how do you navigate that when everything is, everywhere you look, everything is the mind, everything. And you look at people, including myself, even, we're all in our minds.
Most of the time.
Most of the time we're in our minds. Every now and then you get a glimpse of the heart, right?
We do. We find love in a pet. We find love in family or an event or moment. We have moments. We have glimpses. But even that kind of love is just a scratch compared to where we could be.
Well, I'm just thinking like how... we've lived most of our life in our mind. All our structures are in the mind.
The structure uses our fear and doubt through the mind to build these corporations. It knows how to get our money. It knows how to get our votes.
Yeah, in a way, it's like it can seem overwhelming if you really look at it and get caught up in it, right?
Yeah, and that's exactly what we're talking about here. Let's talk about really what's going on here. If you take the politics, each politician has their idea and they cherry pick an idea and then they make you afraid of it so get a vote. And they really exaggerate it. Yeah. And then you take businesses, they know exactly what the consumer wants and they know how to basically use your fear not to have it. You got to keep up with technology, otherwise you'll fall behind or whatever it is.
Yeah.
It's all geared around our fear.
So it's almost like you have to do everything backwards in the world.
Right. So yeah, you do. You got to put your pants on backwards every day. You got to put your clothes on backwards every day. We got to think outside of the box. Really start thinking outside of the box, because the box is what we've been living in for so long.
No, it's interesting what you talk about. It makes me think about, there's this Native American tribe in Colombia. I can't remember their name, but regardless of that, what they teach their children when they're young, until the age of 5, they keep them in darkness. And you may look at it and be like, that's terrible. But the reason that they do that is so that they get in line with their heart and they use their heart to feel until the age of 5, and then they let them out into the world. But it's like reverse of how we do things, and it trains them to be in their heart, to be connected to nature, and they live a completely different life than the Western world.
They probably have a stronger community.
Yeah.
You know, there's probably a lot more sharing community, a bonding community, like everybody raises each other's children. It's probably a community like that, which is, I believe, that we're moving into. But that's exactly it. We're quite the opposite. We're born, and then immediately we're put into structure. We got a parent that's absolutely afraid of everything we're doing. They don't want us to be harmed, and it makes sense, right?
Yeah.
Because really, they're raising a child in fear and doubt, because society is fear and doubt. So everything has to be fear and doubt to us. So how do we break the cycle? It has to start with our heart. We have to start learning to be in our heart, because the answers are there. That's the only place where the answers can come from. Will set you up for success. When we're in the heart, we are not afraid of something in our future. We are seeing things from another view.
Well, I guess my question is about the mind and thoughts. So let's start from there.
Okay.
Like, how do you handle, like, for instance, I get thoughts that are negative, delusional sometimes, and you know, I've trained myself to not really look at them at this point, but I still sometimes like grab them and make them mine in a way.
Okay.
How do we start from there, from the thoughts?
Okay. There are certain practices we can do to begin to shift the heart over the mind. And it's not, we have to be patient with ourselves, because we've built a lifetime up to this moment, however old you are, of the mind. So we have to be a little patient with ourselves. We got to be gentle with ourselves and not say, I was in the mind again, and just really crucify ourselves. We have to be patient, understanding, and loving towards ourselves. Number one, love thyself. And when we find ourselves in the mind, just say, oh wow, and come back to the heart. And love yourself. Love yourself, love yourself, love yourself. We'll go over some of these practices. We went over some from last week, and they're very simplistic so far. But that's all we need right now. We need to begin to understand and move into the heart over the mind. And it's going to take a transition. So we're just going to start working with this right now. Let's just start doing it. Let's just get on board with this. It's going to make this transition into the new earth a lot more comfortable for us. So let's just get on board and be excited about it, because it is life-changing. Now, what I can say is a lot of the practices I've been doing are really changing the way things are. I go to bed giddy and laughing and joy. I wake up giddy and laughing and joy, and I feel my day is just so bright and beautiful. And there are things going on around me. I have glimpses of untogetherness and challenges. It's not like those aren't happening. It's just I can see it differently. I'm opening my heart. I'm switching where I'm thinking from. And there is a process of making the transition, but we really got to give it something. We got to really do this. We can't give up on it. What happens is so many people, like for instance, probably listened to the last podcast and practice some of these heart things, but now I've already given up on it.
Yeah.
You know?
Because I mean, it takes a certain level of like awareness, right? And commitment.
Commitment. Perseverance.
Yeah, perseverance.
I don't care if we write it down everywhere in the house, whatever we can do to remind us. One thing you'll notice if you start doing these heart works, you're going to see heart stuff start to appear everywhere. You know, like 333, like numerology, or you're going to see like all of a sudden podcasts pop up about heart or whatever, something on whatever you look at it start to appear, heart this, heart that. Wherever you're driving, you're going to see heart. You'll notice that you're getting the divine message when you start this process. That's why we have such simple things that are being introduced to me through, and I'm sharing it in these podcasts. Like last time we talked about the 8 and saying I love you, and Just saying hello to the heart does so much. I'm not talking about the physical heart, everybody. I'm talking about the heart center, that microphone to the divine. This is the energy center that's going to balance everything out for us. All the other chakras, it is our portal to whatever you want to call it. If you don't believe in a God or you're an atheist, then call it the universe. Call it whatever you want. Because the Creator doesn't care what you call the Creator. Because the Creator is made of unconditional love. It is unconditional love, and we are expressions of that unconditional love. We just chose to forget this, who we are. Now there's going to be fear and doubt everywhere, and it has to be that way, because it would be like going to a library without any books or computers there. There would be nothing to learn from if it wasn't there. This is a school.
I mean, we're basically in some kind of simulation in a way?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of ways you can look at it. These aren't our bodies. We are using these bodies as like costumes in a play. And we should take care of our bodies because they are what is making our soul available to play in this world and to experience who we are by getting furthest away from who we are. The best way to experience who we truly are as love and light is to see how far we can get away from that. Now, at this moment, we've gotten very far away from it. It's time to come home. And the home is the heart. You've heard that, right?
Yeah.
Heart is the home. It is the home. So let's talk about getting back home.
Okay.
The one that recently came through me is, so I started doing this and adding it to the repertoire that I put out in the last podcast about breathing from the heart. Imagine breathing in through the front of your chest like it is your mouth, taking in air into that heart center as the heart is the lungs, and then breathing out from all directions, 360-degree exhale. And just imagine your breath all done to that heart. How often can you do that today? Talking about life changing.
Yeah, it definitely keeps you in the heart doing that.
Because you're putting all awareness on the heart. You're showing it love because you have an intention of waking the heart up. And what we pay attention to, we make real. We bring life to it. So let's bring the life back to the heart. And these phrases that we have will become to life too. Follow your heart. Speak from your heart. Put your heart into it. They will come to life. They won't just be sayings that the mind uses. They'll actually be meaningful.
Yeah, no, I mean it's funny that it's everywhere in our culture, but the mind has hijacked it, like you just talked about. And I think if we can restructure it into those phrases, into using it from the heart, then it becomes more significant, right?
Right. And let's talk about the most important hour of our day.
What would you say that is?
The most important hour is that 30 minutes after we wake up and the 30 minutes before we go to bed. That is a very crucial hour of our day. Usually, it seems like most people now are, the way we are structured is we're looking at our phones the first 30 minutes and the last 30 minutes. Or we're thinking about what I have to do. And then even when we're going to bed, we think about what I have to do the next day or how far behind I am. We're so mind heavy. If we can do what we've been talking about here today and take that first 30 minutes in appreciation for everything that we have. And the whole time, just breathing in your heart and just start appreciating. Watch how your day starts to be set up. You're going to set your day up totally different than how you always have set it up. Leave the phone alone. Usually what you're looking in there at is just structure. There's no spiritual value usually in it unless you're listening to something spiritual that makes your heart feel good. And the last 30 minutes that we spend, we're going to marinate in that vibration. We're going to go to bed and marinate on whatever that vibration is. So if you're just looking at meaningless, non-spiritual growth stuff, that's what you're marinating in. It's a very powerful, crucial hour of our day. So if you can go to bed in your heart, just breathing in your heart, just like that. I have a picture of a deity. I'm not going to share that deity right here because I don't want to put any structure into this at all, because there's so many beautiful deities. And so whoever it is, that if you believe in deities or angels or whatever, you can even just stare at a picture and just breathe in your heart and just watch what happens. Just watch what happens. Because that picture of a saint or a picture of something beautiful, it's like a portal to it, if you can see it that way. If you're breathing in your heart and you're looking at it, it's kind of like talking on a phone. When you're talking on a phone, you're not talking to the actual telephone, are you?
No.
You're talking to what's on the other end of that phone.
Yeah.
That's how you can see a picture like that, or a photo or something beautiful. It connects you to that love.
So in the morning, sit in gratitude.
In the morning, sit in gratitude. In the evening, sit in gratitude. Gratitude's a great way to end it, and gratitude is a great way to wake up.
But don't just go and look at your phone and do the same thing from the structure. Switch it up, right?
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, this is a key hour of our day if we're going to do this. You'll notice when you wake up, you want to grab that phone right away.
Yeah.
You'll notice that you usually watch it all the way to the very end. This is the kind of vibration that's not going to carry us there, to this new frequency. This is all going to have to change. This is all getting left behind, people. If we can't understand that and begin to realize this, then we're going to fall behind. And that's not said to scare anybody, because we're all going to be woken up anyways, one way or another. Whether we have to literally be grabbed and shook to wake up by what's going to happen in the world events, or we can do this softly and beautiful and see it from another view and just be a part of a movement instead of being affected by a movement, instead of being shooken by the movement and feel all the pain from it. Not saying that we're never going to feel pain again or see challenges and see ugly stuff and it's not going to affect us. We still live in a human body and a human experience, and we've forgotten who we are. But let's wake up to who we truly are. That's the idea here, is to get furthest away we can from ourselves so we get to experience who we truly are. But now that we've experienced all those emotions of sadness and anxiety and all those emotions of fear and doubt, all those emotions that we do not enjoy, we experienced them. We understand it now. Okay, great. We've learned who we are by experience things that are furthest away from us. Now it's time to come home. Now the mission is to wake up. Now the mission is to become these light beings, come home while we're still embodied and realize who we are now, why we are in such a difficult planet, why we're in such a difficult, challenging vibration. If we could do it here, we've really done something. We become masters. We mastered this school. We get to move out, whatever you want to call it.
Another reality.
Another reality.
So let's take this time to do a few of the breaths so we practice it.
Okay, everybody. So Let's do this now. You can also look at my meditation that I posted last Tuesday, and it includes this movement on it. But I want everybody to be able to have something throughout their day that they can do that doesn't include meditation. Now, I would highly suggest that everybody meditates to start the day off. Still, make time for it, even if you have to get up early. But what we'll do is just doing a couple processes so that we can understand what we can do throughout our day to just bring more awareness to the heart and begin to wake it up. And then later down the line, we'll find more profound ways of really, once we get this going, once we get it going really well, then we'll really wake it up. So imagine there's an intake right in the front of your chest, in the center of it, that can breathe in the air into your heart center, that energy center right there. Take a breath in. Fill up your heart as they are the lungs. And then breathe out in all directions. 360-degree exhale. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. If you want to make it stronger, you can breathe in, I am. Breathe out, love. You really want to crank it up. I am. Breathe out, love. All done in the heart. That will change your life. That will give you a pair of shoes so that you can walk in all this glass. And then when you are walking on glass with shoes, everybody's like, why are you walking around so comfortably? And then you can share, I'm in the heart. Thank you. Namaste.
Namaste.
Thank you, everybody, for listening, and thank you for being the good news. If you found value in this podcast, please support my channel by liking and subscribing. Thank you. Namaste.